All right, for today's industry insight, we're going to be talking about this concept of stream-friendly games, hence why there's a victory royale in the thumbnail, which I assume that automatically gives 500 to 1,000 extra views regardless of the video. I may just put them in random thumbnails going forward. But the idea behind stream-friendly titles sounded insane 5 to 10 years ago, but since then has become very big business for YouTubers, streamers, and of course developers and publishers involved. And it is something that bears discussion today. Now, I like to think that any game can be stream friendly, but unfortunately it seems I've been proven wrong on that front when we do the grab bag streams, the classic game nights, and so on. And when I thought about this before starting this video, there's two, I think, key factors that determines how friendly a game is to be watched. And it has to do with both gameplay and presentation. Now, starting on the gameplay side, there's two polar opposites when it comes to gameplay. The first is at the high level play. This is when we're talking about competitive games, battle royale, even high level single player titles like Bloodborne, Darkest Dungeon, you name it. Now, at the competitive side of things, what makes this popular has to do with, again, the human factor that is involved with playing these games. So when we talk about variance and replayability, what makes playing against humans so popular is that you don't know what's going to happen. There is no AI to exploit or pattern to repeat. Instead, how you play the game is different from how I play the game, and so on. And there's that high stakes matchup that's involved when you're watching people play Fortnite, Counter-Strike, Overwatch, League of Legends, you name it. The other side, of course, has to do, or the other part, is from the esports or grandmaster territory. When you're watching people who are the best at their respective genres, it gives it a little bit more weight and credence compared to just watching casual play. When I'm watching Evo and I see a PR Balrog, a Sonic Fox, and I'm sure you guys probably know a lot more, it is amazing to see these people pull off these insane moves and knowing that I will never be able to get to that level. Now, one of the reasons, again, why this works so well for a game like Fortnite is that you have 100 people or 99 people other than yourself. So that gives it a lot of variance. Am I going to get to the top 50? Am I going to be killed 2 minutes in? Will I get my chicken dinner, victory royale, you name it? Who knows? And that excitement drives people to watch. It's the same thing with any sporting event. When you're watching your favorite team, whatever, pick a sport right there. Now, the other side, or I'm sorry, before we get to that, from a single player aspect, high level single player gameplay can be very interesting. We're talking about Kaizo games, speedrunning, or even just playing hard titles like The Darkest Dungeon, Bloodborne, you name it. In these titles, it's about watching someone play a game that you may not be able to play and may be beyond your own level of skill. But you can watch someone else just break it all together, break it all apart. Again, this is what makes speedrunning so exciting, because most people aren't going to be speedrunning these games at that level. But if you can watch, a professional Castlevania streamer, Metroid, Mario, you name it, you're going to see something that probably you would never be able to do in your own time. Now, the other aspect behind stream-friendly games, and what we are seeing more and more of, comes from a presentation side of things. And the presentation is very important when we look at games that don't have a lot of gameplay to them. This is the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to gameplay. These are titles where it's interesting to watch what's going on. And in these kinds of games, basically, you as the audience are reacting to what the person, you as the audience and you as the streamer or YouTuber are reacting at the same time. These are titles like Her Story, the whole jump scare horror genre, even watching people play adventure or visual novel games. This is where that presentation comes into play. Because from a gameplay point of view, there's nothing here that's going to hold your attention. I tried streaming games like that, and there's nothing to talk about if we're just looking at things from a pure gameplay or game design point of view. So instead, it becomes about, hey, I'm seeing this crazy thing. Are you guys seeing it? And everybody's just reacting to what's going on. Now, presentation can also matter when it comes to gameplay as well. When we've talked about esports in the past, we brought about how some of the best esports friendly titles are those that are very easy to process what's happening on screen. This is why both Battle Royale and fighting games are so popular. From a fighting game point of view, again, what are you looking at on screen? 2 people, 2 health bars. Once one health bar runs out, the game is over. With Battle Royale, 100 players enter. When there's 1 left, that's it. And it becomes very easy to process what's going on compared to something that has a lot more of a cerebral or back-end kind of gameplay. So CCGs, strategy titles, these are games where a lot of what's going on is happening with the player's thought process. When I play a game like Slay the Spire, for instance, you're not really seeing a lot of what's going on in terms of what I'm doing on gameplay. I'm processing what cards I have and trying to put that together. It's not the same as, again, playing a fighting game where when I think of something, you're going to see that happen in real time with whatever my character is doing. Even with a game like Darkest Dungeon, for instance. In Darkest Dungeon, a huge part of what makes that game stream friendly is the presentation. I mean, just 2 words, Wayne June. That pretty much explains the whole thing. But you can watch, how attacks are shown, seeing that miss, getting the critical. All these are elements that add and drive excitement to watching this game. It would be a completely different experience imagine if the Darkest Dungeon had the same kind of presentation as Slay the Spire. Yes, the gameplay would still be tight and tense, but you lack that, visual and auditory experience that keeps people interested. Now, when it comes to stream-friendly titles, from a design point of view, this is where things get very tricky. In some cases, it can be a little bit exploitive. Because as we've seen over this past year, a lot of people are jumping on to the stream-friendly bandwagon. There we go. And there are so many Battle Royale games either coming out now or to come in the next year to year and a half. And we've also saw the same thing with the horror genre. After Outlast grew popular, Slender Man, and again, many other titles that I try to avoid. But the idea behind Stream Friendly is that it has to do with 2 extremes. Is the gameplay going to be interesting and engaging enough to draw people to watch? Or is the presentation going to be enough so that it's more focused on the player's reaction to the game rather than the gameplay itself? So to give you an example or a counterexample, look at the titles from Paradox Interactive, Stellaris, Europa Universalis, and so on. These games are very popular. They are great to play. They have hardcore fans. But they are horrible if you want to try and watch someone play it. It's kind of like that idea of, or that ever-old popular adage of why people don't like Let's Plays. Why should I watch someone play a game when I can just do it myself? So here's my question to you folks, whether you are a hardcore fan or not of Paradox Interactive. Would you really be interested in watching someone just casually play that game for 2 to 3 hours? I don't think there's going to be all that much interest. Same reason why the Tetris Grand Champion prize pool is noticeably less compared to the recent announcement of a $100 million prize pool for playing Fortnite. And this, or it could be 100 million or 10 million. I apologize if I messed up on that. But to wrap things up for today, when it comes to design a game to be stream friendly, you have to think about how someone is obviously approaching watching it just as much as it is about someone playing it. Again, it's very interesting why Slay the Spire isn't as exciting to watch as Darkest Dungeon. Both are very challenging roguelikes. But again, the presentation does so much. And good presentation is universal. It's not just about stream friendly or otherwise. But for those of you who are watching this right now, to wrap things up, can you think of some unorthodox stream friendly games? So not first person shooters, not competitive games, not battle royale. And what are some of your thoughts about how things have turned in terms of YouTube and Twitch being dominated by a few popular genres? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you can think of games you would like me to stream, again, we do the Saturday Night Grab Bag and Classic Game Nights. And you can, of course, pitch games on our Discord channel, which you'll find a link down below. But otherwise, thanks for watching today's Industry Insight. Come back for more daily discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. But until then, have a great night. Before we get to the credits, just want to give a quick shout out to the fans and supporters over on patreon.com/GWBycer. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check back around 10 Eastern for regular streaming. If you'd like to suggest games for me to cover or topics to talk about, let me know in the comments below. For a collection of my writings as well as weekly podcasts on design, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the Game Wisdom Patreon, you can find us on there on patreon.com/GWBycer. $1 will get you into our private Discord channel where we talk game topics and more. $5 will get you voting privileges for any major event, including the Saturday Night Grab Bag, Patreon-funded goals, and more. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoy more videos here on the Game Wisdom YouTube channel.